So good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me again here at The Good Life. One thing I'm beginning to enjoy more and more as I am enjoying my stay here in the Dominican Republic, Santiago, by the way. People say I don't say that enough and they don't know what city I'm in. So Santiago, Dominican Republic. And I'm learning to enjoy these walks I take a lot more often, or a lot better, I guess you could say. I'm leaning into them. And it's interesting, I'm out here in the morning and it's late morning now, but I got here early and I've done a few miles already, so I figured I'd go ahead and chat with you. But I see the little children walking by in their dark blue and light blue uniforms. Maybe sometimes it's some guy just, I don't know, sweeping or running the water outside of his front door, washing down the walkway. Or maybe even a lady opening her Colmado. You get used to hearing that clanging noise as the metal doors, kind of roll up, right? That's kind of the feeling and the rhythm I get in the city. Now, let me see if I can get this right. My camera doesn't like to cooperate with me sometimes, so you'll have to forgive me. Anyway, yeah, little things like that, the music permeating the neighborhood, and then the smell of coffee. Yeah, the aroma of the coffee. You can't help but smell coffee out here. This is like a coffee town. But anyway, every once in a while, people will ask me, maybe a couple times a month, Steve, is the Dominican Republic really safe? And that's actually a very good question, and I'm glad you asked. So if I could get my camera to, I don't know, I gotta get another one. Anyway, that's a good question, and I'm gonna try to answer that for you. I'm gonna try to find a place where I can just sit and chat with you. Here we go over here. So we're gonna go over here and have a seat. But the answer to that question isn't just a simple yes. And it's not a simple no either. The Dominican Republic, Santiago anyway, had its own rhythm. And once you understand that rhythm, it can be a wonderful place to live, Here we go. I need to sit down, guys. These steps and these hills, yeah, they can be a blessing, but they can work you too, and that's all good. Anyway, I remember when I first got here, right? Every street was new, every neighborhood was different, and I found myself just walking the neighborhoods, right? And partly because I needed the exercise, and you can tell I probably still do, right? But partly because, too, I wanted to experience the city, not for the first time through a windshield of my car. Actually, I didn't have a car then, but I was renting one. But I wanted to feel it and experience at the street level, so that I can remember what it was that I was seeing. Because you know how when you drive around, you pass by things you don't know, or things you don't really recognize, you don't really acknowledge them, So, yeah, that's how I wanted to experience the city. And what I noticed is that the people here, they smiled at me, And I know that, and for me, that's okay. I know some people, they come from like New York, Jersey. They come down to the South in the U.S. and they go, "Why are these people talking to me? Why are they saying hello to me? You don't know my name." But that's just something we kind of grew up being accustomed to, and unfortunately, I think it's something that we've lost, and that is the feeling of community. But the shop owners, they kind of remembered me after I had visited once or twice. And there was a warmth that, reminded me of what we lost, bit my tongue. What we've forsaken. I should do a cut right there, but I won't. It's something that we've forsaken back at home, that sense of community. Yeah. And during the daytime here, what I've noticed that I'm not uncomfortable walking around. Quite the opposite. I feel welcome here. And it's almost like the city is saying, you know what, Steve, you're okay now. You're home. You can chill, right? Now, does that mean nothing bad ever happens here in Santiago? Absolutely not. There's not a city in the world where you can go or you should go and completely let your guard down. I mean, you might, but I wouldn't advise it. I've lived long enough to know that, and I think we all have. Judging from my analytics, most of you guys are gray in the tooth, or gray, long in the tooth and gray in the head, right? But the question isn't whether Santiago is safe or does it have any crime. The real question is, how do you live wisely? And that's quite a different conversation. So if you will allow me, I'm going to try to have that with you.
9 scars on my heart, but I'm stronger today. Every breath is a gift, every beat is a way. I'm living proof you can rise even after the fall. The good life is here, and I answer the call.
So I think back and I remember when I was walking through a neighborhood, my neighborhood actually. I do that. I'm in another neighborhood today. I'm out of this park. It's a really nice park. It's I don't even remember the name of it. Someone told me, and it's on a placard around here somewhere. But when you get old, you don't remember stuff so well. But anyway, so I'm walking through the neighborhood, and the music's playing. The people are laughing and having a good time. The vendors at the stores are calling out their customers, and the fresh fruit is like stacked a mile high. Outside the stores the way they do. The children are running back and forth between their parents. Life. And I realized something. I wasn't thinking about safety anymore. Not at all. I was simply enjoying the moment, just being there. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to hold this phone and talk to you guys at the same time. So if it moves around a little bit, I apologize. But when you're not thinking about safety, that's when you're probably it's probably a good sign. I heard somebody say one time that there's a question people ask: what is the meaning of life? When you don't ask that question? When you're on a roller coaster, because you're having a good time. It's such a good time. You're not asking silly questions like, are we having a good time yet? Or, what's the meaning of life? Because you're just enjoying the moment. All right? Here. When you're in a place that constantly feels like it's threatening to you, your body kind of lets you know, You don't feel safe, you never relax, and so that's part of the flow of life, really, is listening to your body, listening to your spirit, listening to your heart. But I also remember another evening when I was out walking, and how can I say this? I was out later than I'm normally out, and nothing unusual, just out walking and, just enjoying the pace, listening to my music, because I normally have my headphones on. And so I made a turn, and then I made another turn, right? And a minute or two later, I realized I wasn't where I thought I was, right? The shops were beginning to close down. The sidewalks were clearing out. The street lights were a little farther apart than I was comfortable with, right? So I did something, well, how can I say this? Nothing happened to me. I'm obviously here, right? So nothing happened to me. Nobody approached me. I wasn't robbed or anything like that. And I wasn't threatened. But I did something simple. I turned around. Simple as that. I headed back toward the streets that I was more comfortable with. And again, not because I was afraid, but because Santiago had quietly changed. The city had gone from its daytime rhythm to its nighttime rhythm. And that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned since I've been living here for a little over a year. During the day, Santiago, it invites you in. Okay, just come on out, enjoy yourself, walk, do whatever you're going to do. But at night, it reminds you, it did to me anyway, it's probably time to go home, right? So, and that's not fear, everybody. You know what that is? That's what they call wisdom, okay? Wisdom is not knowing, not just knowing what to do, it's utilizing what you know and then doing it. Anyway, some of you are into statistics, and I don't want to get all into numbers, into the minutia of that, but I'll try to take a moment. Because most people feel comfortable moving around during the day here when they're in Santiago. But at nighttime, the numbers drop precipitously. The numbers, I think it's like 25% of the people say they don't feel like moving around safely, walking around safely in a lot of neighborhoods here in Santiago once the sun goes down, right? So that, it is what it is. But here's what's interesting. The biggest risk that most expats will ever face here, it's not violent crimes. It's just petty theft, believe it or not. Oh, and traffic, and if you spend any time in the Dominican Republic, you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? Dominicans, they drive crazy, all right? I mean, you know, it is what it is. The motorcycles, hey, they'll keep you humble. They'll keep your head on a swivel, you know, and you'll always be watching out. And one thing I've learned here is that, you know, you look both ways, and then after you get done looking both ways, you look both ways, because that's just, you know, anyway, yeah. The roads actually demand more of my attention than any of the people, than any of the neighborhoods. But statistics can only tell part of a story. You know what I mean? What statistics can't tell you is culture. The Dominicans have proven to me, for the most part, to be, you know, quite warm, incredibly warm, as a matter of fact. They are family-oriented people, and boy, I tell you, we were up at the beach on the North Coast a couple of weeks ago, me and a couple other guys. We went up for the fight, and I recorded it, but I said, nah, I'm just going to enjoy the moment. Anyway, we went to a beach on Sunday, and Sunday is like family day, right? On this beach, there had to be 400 or 500 people. I mean, there was a bunch of people, but they were all like, you could tell they were like families, right? Family here, family there, just families everywhere. Yeah. Community matters here. People notice you, especially if you become like a regular. I found that, you know, when I take my time to get to know my neighbors and support local businesses, you know, doing the regular things that we say that we, you know, we're supposed to do. You know, when we become a part of the community instead of just living in it, something changes. You know, you stop feeling like you are a visitor or an expat. Although I guess you never really lose that. But people start to look out for you. You know, and statistics can't sell that. You know, or can't teach that. You can't find that in numbers. But let me tell you, it's real. Where you choose to live, you know, now that's going to be important too. That matters. So, I just happened to see a video yesterday afternoon that Jay Abroad does. Jay's down in Santo Domingo. He's been here like 5 years. He's married. They got a family and all that kind of stuff, right? But you know, Jay's real. I don't know if you know Jay Abroad, but he's a YouTuber, and he's really into real estate. So he said something that resonated with what I'm talking about, or I'm going to talk about right here, and that is that people who choose to buy a home that is in a resort kind of place, those are the people who normally go back. But people who choose a home based on their lifestyle, they tend to be a little bit happier. And I would say to this, some neighborhoods are busier, some neighborhoods are quieter, and so they matter. Some neighborhoods are gated entries. Heck, they have gates around the houses that are in gated entries. I mean, they're big on their gates here, right? Others don't have any gates at all, right? But I chose a neighborhood that suits my lifestyle. It's walkable, it's comfortable, and it's close enough to the things that I need, things that matter to me, and far enough away from the things that, you know, that if I need to get to them, I can, but far enough away that it gives me peace also. And I think I've talked to you enough about how much peace means to me. And that's another lesson. So don't choose just any old apartment, you know, choose a lifestyle. People ask me all the time, well, what's a 3-bedroom cost? What's a 2-bedroom cost? Choose a lifestyle. They're going to be affordable relative to you, relative to what you've been paying, wherever you're coming from. So, yeah, choose a place that suits your lifestyle. So, if you're thinking about moving here, here's my advice. Enjoy the city during the day. And at night, simply use common sense. Okay? So don't walk around in expensive jewelry and, you know, fashion watches and that kind of stuff. Don't carry a whole bunch of money in all your pockets trying to flex or anything like that. If you're out at night, take an Uber. And if you're driving night or day, be defensive. Drive defensively. Let them have their way, because they're going to pull over on you and they're not going to look, and they're going to look at you like you're crazy because, you know, I don't know why. But anyway, you're going to drive, pay attention, and be safe, right? So yeah, in other words, do the same things you would do in any other foreign country that you choose to visit. That makes sense? So, yeah. People ask me sometimes if I would do it again. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a good friend of mine. Shout out to you. She knows who she is. She asked me the other day, after being here for a little over a year, if I would do it all again. And that's the same thing as asking. She asked me if I was feeling at home. And I think that's the same as asking me if I'd do it all again. Because, yeah, if I had to be honest, yeah, I'd do the move again. And I'm beginning to feel at home. I think it takes a couple years for some of the novelty to wear off. And I think that's how I explained it to her. But, yeah, the answer is easy. Absolutely. And not because the Dominican Republic is perfect. Listen, people, it is not. And if you're looking for the perfect place, you might as well just stay where you are. But it is because this city has afforded me the opportunity to realize a different kind of pace, a slower pace, a better perspective, and a stronger sense of community than I had where I was. So yes, I'd do it again because I found a bit of peace here. And that's not going to happen for everybody as it has happened for me. So you got to find your own place for peace. But is Santiago safe? My honest answer, yes, but with wisdom, not fear, wisdom. Because I've learned something over this past nearly year and a half. Living overseas, it's not about pretending everything is perfect. That would just be a lie straight out of hell, right? It's about learning how to live differently in another place. That's it. Learning its rhythm, respecting its culture, and becoming part of that story. You know what I mean? Falling in, as I heard someone say once. He said I fall in, and I get that now. I had to learn it, but yeah. And somewhere along the way, you stop feeling like, if you can do that, you stop feeling like you're visiting. You start feeling like you're belonging. And for me, that's the good life. No, everything's not perfect. But because I've learned how to live well right here where I am, with what I have. And what I have is enough. And there is an abundance of that, if you understand the philosophy. And maybe that's the lesson, overall. The lesson isn't, found by looking for the perfect place. Maybe it's found by learning to appreciate the place that you choose to call home. I'd love to hear your opinion on these thoughts. Have you visited Santiago? Something you say that you're planning to? Or are you thinking about, moving somewhere else? Or maybe you've already found your version of the good life in another country, in another part of the world. So let's talk about that in the comments. How about we do that? And I read every one of them, and I'm always so pleased to hear from you guys. So let me just go ahead and end this here. I think I've talked enough. Until next time, guys, take care of yourself, travel wisely, and never, never, never stop appreciating this journey of life that we have. Because, my friends, that life, that journey, yeah, that's the good life. So until next time, many blessings.